Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Cahill and welcome to Writing Retreat Wednesday. One of my yearly goals at the moment is to write for at least 1 hour a day for a minimum of 5 days a week. And on Wednesdays I have instilled, as such, Writing Retreat Wednesday, where the rules are slightly different. It's my chance to get in a proper writing session without having to be too worried about any distractions that might be waiting for me at home, to feel like I'm actually doing a proper job at writing, whereas 1 hour a day sometimes doesn't feel like it's enough for me. I'm just not ever bothered to do more. Now I have just 4 rules for Writing Retreat Wednesday. Number 1 is that I have to write for 4 hours minimum in order for me to call it a successful day. Rule number 2, I have to write for at least 1 hour outside of the house in order to give myself a new surrounding, so I'm not just bored sitting at my desk with all of the distractions of the internet and TV there to, tempt me away from my work. Rule number 3, which is one that I don't quite care if I hit or not, I need to work on at least 3 different projects. This is so 1, I don't get bored, 2, so I don't start struggling working on a single specific project, and 3, to sort of keep my motivation going because I'm working on something different. And number 4, I have to read for at least 1 hour. It is 9 something in the morning. I've just dropped my kids off at school, my littlest off at preschool, and now I'm on my way to Costa Coffee in order to get a hot chocolate, obviously, and start my writing day. So let's go. We are home. I have done my hour, I think it was, in the end at Costa Coffee, which is fine. I don't like staying in there too long. It's really weird. If I don't have a drink, I feel like I'm just intruding at that point, and I don't want to get up and get another drink. So I was just like, okay, I'm done with my hour now. I've let my hot chocolate sit for as long as I can without it getting too cold. I need to leave, so I left. But I got breakfast on my way home. Sausage and egg bagel from Tim Hortons, yay for that. And I also got some donuts as well. I can't go to Tim Hortons without getting any donuts. We did a good hour. I finally managed to finish one of the chapters for Osaseoit that I have been slaving over for the past few days. I think I spent about 2.5 hours trying to finish this chapter. I finally finished it today. I don't know what I'm going to work on next. I might eat my breakfast first and then decide what project to work on. I don't know what projects I've got scheduled for this week, actually. Hang on. My wonderful focus to do. So this week, these are the tasks that I have planned. Can I guess which projects they belong to? This top one, Ashby at LC, that is for my witchy YA, They Leave the Hunt. I'm not physically drafting that at the moment. I'm more writing a 0 draft. So I'm just going through every single chapter and writing down everything that I can for that chapter. And once I've done that for every single chapter, then I will go back and start physically writing the rest of the novel for the first draft. I'm not going to bother leaving it for a couple of months because it doesn't really make sense as it is at the moment. It's literally just moments in time within these chapters. Blog post for my website I need to do, and scene 24, I believe that is for Abingdon House, or actually it might be for Beneath the Hawthorn Lights. For Beneath the Hawthorn Lights is another one that I've already worked on for an hour that I need to finish. I might try and finish scene 24 first. Okay, first half an hour Pomodoro, I guess, since we've got home has been done. I have finished scene. I have finished scene 24 for Beneath the Hawthorn Lies. I have spent an hour and 15 minutes working on it in total. It's the scene where Kinley, the main character, gets attacked by Merrow, which are water fairies, and they're trying to take her back to the fairy queen in order to do horrible things. It wasn't a difficult scene to do. Now in the process of sorting out scene 25. I always forget that with Beneath the Hawthorn Lies, I'm writing in scenes, not in chapters. When I redid the whole outline for it, I re-outlined using the 60 scenes method, and yeah, I keep forgetting that I've done this in scenes rather than chapters. Unlike Abingdon House, which I am writing in chapters, and Osata Goet, for the most part, is every scene or two that I write is a full chapter in itself for the different POVs. I just not that word count matters for chapters anyway. They can be as long or as short as you want them to be. I keep getting stuck on, oh, I've only written this many words for this chapter. Like, that's not enough. Wait, no, it's a scene. It's fine. I don't know what scenes are supposed to be within what chapter at the moment. I will figure that out once I've written everything and I need to compile it into its different chapter forms, you know, for revision purposes. There's not a lot of work I need to put into the revision for Beneath the Hawthorn Lies at the moment anyway. Yes, I have re-outlined everything, but that's not so much taking out scenes and putting in new ones, more than it is reshuffling the order of the majority of the Act 2 scenes in order to narratively make more sense in regards to the slight ways I have changed the overall plot itself. And there are a few new scenes in order to sort of tie together the new angle of the plot that I'm working with. I haven't reached those new scenes yet. It's just making sure that now that I've reshuffled everything, the right information is being discovered at the right time, rather than discovering something or planting a seed of something too early for the new plot than I needed it in the old plot. And it's making sure that that information stays consistent throughout the entire thing. It's also really annoying with this current scene that I'm about to start working on, scene 25, where I haven't, because it's a third draft, I have the story written, because I haven't properly outlined any of the scenes, and they are simply Amero attacks. Kinley speaks to Gilroy. I haven't detailed what happens in that scene. So my issue is, now that I've made those slight changes, I am going to have to sort of alter the point of a lot of scenes and the point of a lot of conversations that happen within those scenes. And it's trying to think on the fly now, what pieces of information need to be discovered during this conversation in this scene in order to push the plot forward to where it needs to go next. I hope that made sense. It sounded decent in my head, and then I got to a specific point in the sentence and was like, does that work with does that make sense? What I said, I don't know what I said. Don't think I'm making much sense, and I am starting to ramble a little bit. I'm British, it happens. I have also made tea. The issue with this mug, which is stressing me out, is it has such a wide opening at the top. It goes colder faster than a lot of my other mugs do. And I keep forgetting it goes colder faster. So I'm so used to waiting ages for my tea to cool down until it is just at the right temperature. It's too long for this mug. I'm probably going to come back in about 20 minutes and be like, my tea's cold. We're just gonna write, okay? Let's just, yeah. my tea went cold. Told you I'd complain about it. So I got cold, so I changed into my Minnie Mouse hoodie. I got distracted and have been not doing any work for the past 3 hours. And now me and my husband are moving furniture.
No. My husband.
I moved my stuff.
No, you took your stuff off of this. I'm moving the furniture, putting it into the wall.
And now we're doing that. I did manage to finish my blog post that I wanted to write as well though. So that's done, that's scheduled. My hair's just all over the place right now. I'm done with Beneath the Hawthorn Lies. I do not feel the urge to do any more work for that. It's 10 to 7 in the evening. I've only done 2 hours and 20 minutes worth of work so far today. So I still have to do another hour and 40 minutes. And I still need to read for an hour to call this day successful. So it was a really terrible day to try and vlog because I've just been so distracted all day. Expect that with me when I do vlogs. I really suck at doing them. I think the next thing that I'm going to work on is trying to see my things through my phone, which is not possible. I might go to Abingdon House and do some work on Abingdon House. I think that's the project that I want to start querying this year. It was between that or Beneath the Hawthorn Lies. I think I'm going to stick with Abingdon House. That's what I'm feeling at the moment though, but I'll make a proper decision at the end of January, which is when my deadline for choosing the project happens to be. I'm writing chapter 13 at the moment, which is, I don't know what chapter 13 is. Exploring Abingdon House. So this isn't a new chapter, this is an old chapter. It's in a very different place than it was in the previous draft, and I'm adding something new to it which is going to play into the plot going forward. So I don't really have a lot to do to finish that, except for going through, adding, you know, the new plot elements that I need to, and making any minor changes, cutting out any waffling that happens to go on, etc, etc. So that should be a quick and easy fix. Hopefully the next half an hour's worth of work that I've got to do, and then I think I'll continue then with chapter 14, and hopefully that's something I can stick with for a little bit longer, so I don't have to continually stop and change between different tasks, because I can just focus for the other hour and a half just on that one thing. I got distracted again moving furniture and stuff about. It's now 8:20 and I literally just sat down to start doing the last little bits of chapter 13 of Abingdon House when I realised that the previous scene does not, or the previous chapter does not go into the next chapter properly. So where I ended chapter 12 does not lead to the beginning of chapter 13. There's a couple of scenes missing in between. I didn't take that into account clearly when I reshuffled everything around for Abingdon House. And I can do it now, I just need to renumber everything again, which is annoying because I've already renumbered everything twice. Or I could tack on to the end of 12 and the beginning of 13 with these scenes instead. The only issue with that is the fact that chapter 12 is already 2,600 words long. I can't really shorten that from what I've already got, and chapter 13 is already 2,100 words long, and I don't really want to tack too much onto the beginning of that, because Abingdon House is a middle grade, and yes, chapter size does not matter, but again, I'm trying to keep things as consistent as I can. I don't really want to go over 2,000 words for any of the chapters, which has failed miserably for chapters 12 and 13. But they're quite big chapters as it is. They have a lot of stuff going on in them. Yeah, but none of it's scrap. Scrap paper on a writer's desk. What are you talking about? Now I forgot what I was saying. Witness, if you would, peak Britishness. Tea and crumpets. It is Thursday morning, welcome, and I am on a walk because I guess why not? I finished up my Writers Retreat Wednesday, managed to get my 4 hours in, managed to work on my different projects and have my 1 hour outside of the house. I did not end up reading at all whatsoever, so big fat no on the reading for 1 hour, which I'm not too bothered about because I got the bulk of my work done that I wanted to get. I did the most important thing, which was of course the writing. Something I realised yesterday, which I really should have realised over the past few weeks of me doing this sort of Writer Retreat Wednesday, is the fact that it wasn't really as writing retreat as I wanted it to be. It's supposed to be my way of like really focusing on my writing, having a really good productive day, or at least a really good productive 4 hours, and sort of like being a writer instead of being a full-time worker or being a mum, just for that tiny little bit, you know, right without the distractions. And the past few weeks, especially yesterday, that kind of hasn't happened on the Wednesdays. Looking at how all of my tasks were spread out throughout the day and how the majority of it was done in the evening before I went to bed, giving me no time to relax because I am essentially working to a deadline. It just turned out like every other writing day that I would have done, trying to write X amount of words instead of writing for X amount of time. I ended up getting super distracted, obviously, and so I think what I need to do for Writing Retreat Wednesdays in the future is, instead of me just spending 1 hour out of the house minimum, because that's what I did, I need to spend longer outside of the house, I think, to really focus and really enjoy what it is that I am trying to do and how I am trying to succeed. And despite the fact I was there like, well, I finished my drink, I don't want to have to get up and get another drink, and I don't want to just sit here working with nothing. Ooh, that was a bit of bright light. I need to just go up and get myself a second drink, or maybe move to another location, something to make it seem a bit more retreat rather than I'm struggling through a day trying to catch up with NaNoWriMo. For today, what I'm simply going to do is my standard 1 hour that I need to do per day of writing. I'm not sure which project I want to focus on yet. I might go back and sort out the really long chapters for Abingdon House and stick a chapter between current 12 and 13 in order to sort of make that flow better, because Despite the fact I said that I'm going to do it later, it's bugging me, so I think I'm going to have to do it now. I will also need to sort out my desk now that we've moved everything around, reorganise that, so that's going to be fun. And I need to read some of my book that I did not read the other day. So those are the 3 things that I have planned for today. Hopefully this walk is going to get me nice and energised because it's freezing and frosty, and hopefully I can focus long enough to get everything done as quick as possible in the morning without having to leave it throughout the entire day and once again struggle at the end. But we'll see how that goes. There we go. Perfect. It only took me an hour and a half, but I am done reorganizing my space with all of my new things, and I like it. That tea went cold though. Managed a couple of sips at least. I just realised I have not added my sticker for Tuesday or for Wednesday. Oh, I'm terrible. Tuesday. And Wednesday. So far I have been doing pretty good throughout the entirety of the month in writing for at least 1 hour or the 4 hours, more or less 5 days a week. The good thing about doing a zero draft is that I don't have the pressure of having to 100% finish the scene that I'm writing. I just need to sort of write down sort of what happens, stick in some bits of conversation, little notes to myself like, oh, describe what's going on here, or this is where this should happen. The bad thing about that is, I don't know, it feels like I'm cheating somehow. If I have like a task that I need to complete, I can just say that task is completed whenever I want to, and there probably is certainly more that I can think of to add to these scenes. I'm just not bothered to do it at that time, so task complete. It's a bit of a weird one, but I have finished the zero draft for the Ashby at the LC scene, which it's a chapter in itself, this one scene, and I don't know if I can make what I've got into a full chapter, and I'm not sure how to create the tension I need to create for the readers without giving certain things away. But there's also a lot of things in that chapter which they don't serve as foreshadowing, but they sort of contain Easter eggs, I guess, and that relate back to previous scenes. So it's one of those, it's where some foreshadowing pays off if the reader catches all of the foreshadowing that has been done in the rest of the novel. And it's trying to find the balance between revealing a little bit so the reader doesn't catch on quickly, it's not in their face, but putting enough in to sort of have them go, wait a second, that sounds familiar. This doesn't feel quite right, and I don't know why. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I don't think I'm going to be able to sort of get the full effect I want with just the zero draft. Hopefully the work that I've put into this zero draft version of the plot will sort of give me the roadworks I need in order to create that tension and that sort of mystery and what's going on that this specific scene needs to have. I've done half an hour worth of work. I've got just another half an hour left before I finish for the day, and then I need to read my book for an hour. I don't know if there's any more scenes in And Still We Stand that I need to do a zero draft for. I think maybe I have actually gone through and written a zero draft for the majority, for all of the chapters. And I'm just going to go through now and actually see if I have actually completed all of these zero draft scenes. The next thing I need to do with it is read through everything I have, sort of as the story as a whole, add bits to the zero draft as I go if I think of something else to add, and then comes actually physically writing the first draft, which I am actually quite nervous about doing because this is such a character-centric story. I need to make sure that the story makes sense, the characters' character arcs make sense and fit in with the plot, and that the plot makes sense and that it progresses naturally, which is always a very difficult thing for me to try and mesh all of them, especially if it is supposed to be such a character-driven novel. There is a couple of scenes, 3 scenes I think, which have very, very little, but that still works because I sort of know-ish what is going on in those scenes anyway. I didn't realise I'd be reaching the sort of reread, going through to the first draft stage for this story. I just lost what I was saying. I didn't realise I'd get to this point so quickly. I thought I had a lot more to write for the zero draft than just, I think, the 2 scenes that I've worked on over the past couple of weeks. Now, do I want to start reading through it now, and that will be the next half an hour worth of work that I've got to do, or do I want to work on a different project? I don't know why I'm asking. Obviously, I'm going to reread through what I've already written because that's the easiest thing to do. It doesn't require much focus or hard work from me, so I'm just going to do that. Read through zero draft. That can be the next task that I complete. So I'm going to be doing that for the next hour and a half, including reading the book that I didn't read yesterday. I am currently reading Amari and the Great Game, which is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. It's middle grade, and I am going to end the vlog here because you don't need to see me reading stuff. It's not like I'm going to be making notes on it or anything. It's not going to be that interesting. I got a good amount of work done over these past couple of days. If I check my stats, I have done, or will have done, 5.5 hours worth of work over the past couple of days. I completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tasks. 5 of them yesterday, 1 of them today, which is good. I'm annoyed it took me so long to write yesterday, but lessons learned, and we're going to try something new next week. Hopefully it won't take me as long. I organised my desk, which is a big one, and I've got some more organising to do a little bit later, but we'll see if I'm bothered to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about all the British rambling, but you should come to expect it quite a bit with me. I'll see you guys in my next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.